Before we start this episode, I want to put out a disclaimer. My views, my experiences that I'm going to talk about are my own. They are not a reflection of the Coca-Cola Company. They are what my perception and my experiences have been. And so with that, let's start the show. Welcome to the Trill and BA Show. I'm your host, Felicia Ann Rose Anuha, aka the Trillest MBA you will ever know. And I'm here to help you survive and thrive in corporate America by giving you the truth and being as real as only I can be. Happy Easter Sunday, everybody. So listen, I feel like my career journey has also risen on this third day morning. So Wednesday was my last day at the Coca-Cola Company. And I put my laptop in a FedEx box with my badge. And that was my goodbye to being a brand marketer at the Coca-Cola Company, which was really like a dream job in a lot of ways, right? And to be honest, I've worked for some really beastly brands, but Coca-Cola is literally the world's most recognized and most loved brand, right? Like there's a lot of work, time, effort, resources, and money that goes into being that type of brand. And as I reflect on the lesson, and I mean it was a lesson, that was my 18 months with the Coca-Cola Company during a pandemic, I want to take you guys on the journey these next couple of episodes because I am a case study. My career is a case study. I literally use my black ass in corporate to take these lessons on the chin so that I can come back to you guys and really start working on how do we not only survive, but how do we thrive? In order to do these episodes, I did not take the severance package that came with the restructuring. I know I'm a fool, but I felt that it was more important for me to be able to honestly and safely, from a legal and financial standpoint, share with you guys some of the things that I experienced in a company that's a machine. So understand, Coke is just the case study. And all the companies I've worked at, I could tell you probably even worse stories. Probably because I was more junior and more dumb. Didn't know. But unfortunately, I always tell you guys, if they pay you to come, they pay you to leave, right? Sometimes when you get paid to leave, you got to sign some papers and then you can't say nothing. So in order for me to use my platform freely, I forego some money. And so in today's episode, what I'm going to focus on is reading company culture and how I fucked that up. So first, I want to talk about why I was fooled. And it's on me. It's not like this company proactively tried to trick me. I fooled myself. So I wrote this goodbye email, and it was a pretty damn good email if I say so myself. And I do say so myself. I'm gonna read y'all a little bit of the email that I sent. So I wrote, "Happy Tuesday. My last day is March 31st, so I thought I would send this today to make sure people can ping me back if needed. Currently, I'm taking a break from watching Derek Chauvin's trial, I think that's how you say his name, for the murder of George Floyd. As I watch the footage that led to a global awakening, I reflect on the past 18 months of my life and my time with the Coca-Cola Company. I had gigantic dreams when I joined the Coca-Cola Company October 7th, 2019. I really wanted to be the first Black woman CEO of the Coca-Cola Company. There was and still is a lot of opportunity to #emerge stronger with the Coca-Cola Company. For me, though, the universe decided a different path to emerging stronger. Yes, I have landed a new role at a new organization. My LinkedIn will update soon. I am grateful to have been blessed to meet and work with each of you. I have learned so much from you. I hope that knowing me has been impactful to you in at least some small way. And then I went on to plug the podcast. Yes, I did. Yes, your girl did. No shame. Y'all know I'm passionate about career management, especially when it comes to us. So plug the podcast. Now, I think I ended up sending this out to a total of about 90 people, right? I tell y'all, and I mean it, build networks. But put a pin in that because I'm going to tell y'all how I fucked that up in this situation. But then some of the responses that I got from coworkers, and I'm going to pick some of the coworkers, my level and above. So one person wrote me, "I can't even begin to tell you about the impact you have had on my career. So fortunate to have had a chance to work with you, and I will be booking a session with you soon. I know I need the help. Looking forward to staying connected." These are my coworkers, y'all. These are my coworkers. Somebody else wrote, "Best wishes in your new endeavor, Felicia. It has been a pleasure meeting you. Look forward to hearing more of your story and your journey toward that CEO role. God bless." Somebody else wrote, "Felicia, you are a force, and I know you will be achieving your goals before you know it. Maybe not at Coke, but I'll be hearing your name, making it big somewhere. I hope our career paths will cross again. It was always a pleasure working with you." It's just crazy when I see all these. Congratulations on this next step, Felicia. I'm so thankful I got a chance to learn from one of the best marketers, and I know you're going to do amazing things post-Coke. I mean, like, come see me, Felicia. I want to see you. Like, you guys, it's just crazy. But this one really made me reflect. OMG, Felicia, you made my day with this email. If I really connected well with you in the past, now I am a super fan, knowing you did all this from your passions. I am definitely tuning into that podcast, girl, even though I'm so sorry for us to lose a talent like you. I also do know that God's timings are perfect and that amazing things will come to you in your new gig. And I received a lot of emails. So when you get that kind of feedback, you have to pause and ask yourself, if I'm so great, why didn't the company fight to keep me, Felicia? So here's the biggest takeaway, guys. Don't be fooled by fans. Again, last week I talked about self-awareness, and I realized I wasn't as self-aware as I thought. And a lot of this came from going through a restructure. I get my personality is different, y'all. And I know a lot of y'all that work in corporate be listening to this podcast wondering, does she act this niggerish at work? No, I don't. There's no way. There's no way. I wish I could. It would be so much fun. But no, I don't. But I do understand my personality, my energy. It's a force. It's the thing that makes this podcast good. It's the thing that makes me good at what I do. It's the reason why people were emailing me back with all these, oh, I'm so sad to see you go. I miss you. Oh, you're so authentic. And I'll miss your truth and candor. And I'm constantly trying to squash and curtail the actual force of my being. Because I know that in these spaces, I don't quite fit. And I know a lot of you feel this way. Whether you have that introvert power of being able to internalize a lot of information and data and then being super thoughtful about it. You may get the feedback, well, you don't really show up in meetings and you feel disengaged. I get you're too much. Like, I've actually had that feedback. You're too much. It's how, Felicia, it's how you show up. I'm constantly trying to fit in. And the lesson is, you'll have a bunch of people who love you. They love working with you. They love your energy. They love what you bring. But the organization doesn't value that. So you can have a bunch of fans and the organization still not want you. No matter how much you inspire your coworkers or push them to excellence, no matter how good of a leader you are, if the organization doesn't value what you bring and who you are to the table, it will never matter how many fans you have. And quite frankly, that's painful, because what you're saying without saying it is that I don't really belong here. After we come back from the break, I'm going to talk about the key things that I did wrong that didn't help my case when we get back. All right, so as y'all heard, Chris put me on blast the last episode of season 4 and pretty much said, you gonna ask these people for help and you gonna start this Patreon. So I started a Patreon page, working on additional content. Go on over to patreon.com/TrillingBA show and become a patron and help us make more dope content to help us survive and thrive in corporate America. So let's talk about the key thing I did wrong. Well, I really didn't follow my own goddamn advice. That's what I did wrong. I tell you guys time and time and time again, relationships, build relationships. That is the key to everything. And I have to be honest, it's the most difficult thing to do. Oh, it's so hard. And it's time consuming. And it takes strategy to get you out of these situations, like a restructure. So during the restructure, I had the opportunity to stay at Coke because, let's be clear, my performance is excellent. And so they would have given me a job that was a lateral, which I was a senior brand manager. And so it would have been the same work I'd been doing. And for all intents and purposes, I am behind where my peers in business school are in our career, our post MBA career. And so a lot of my peers are at least senior directors, if not VPs or hell more, we're over 10 years out of school. So I recognize that and it's fine because you got to understand the difference between these levels is time, experience, relationships, emotional intelligence, corporate savvy, corporate maturity, the soft skills. And there are some hard skills that you need to demonstrate along the way, but a lot of it is about building relationships and likability. You'd be amazed. There's some people that turn in trash and people be praising it and you be looking like, that's some bullshit. Well, the hype comes from this person is likable. They manage up. They know how to play the game, right? It's about the relationships they have, who's sponsoring them, who their advocates are. And so as you climb the ladder, it becomes how you mitigate through the company culture, understanding it, knowing where you fit into it. And at Coca-Cola, I thought I had this great opportunity because I had been there 18 months and I thought it was a great opportunity for me to go for that director position. And they wouldn't allow me to interview. And what pisses me off the most is that I had peers that I had worked with. So I'd seen them work, I'd seen their work. And not only did I run circles around them, people actually like working with me. But again, you see these people and they are the ones, like they're usually Becky's, let's just be honest, right? They're usually Becky. And it looks like they're kissing ass. And they seem very fake. And why people fall for this shit, I don't know. But the thing is, the leaders never see the bad behavior that they exhibit with their peers and with their cross-functional teams and people that they can shit on, that they shit on. Like, you don't ever see that. They only see the perception that this person wants them to see. And so you call it ass kissing, I call it managing perception and managing up. But just know it's all playing the game and working on getting where you're trying to go, getting your money, getting your promotion. And so even though I run circles around some of these people, I'm more qualified than some of these people. I have better education than some of these people. I have better experience than some of these people. I've worked for bigger dog companies than the Coca-Cola Company versus some of these people. They got the opportunity and I didn't. But I was told that there was such great talent and so many people had applied for director roles. And quite frankly, I just didn't have the network or relationships that these other people had. That is so fucking infuriating. And the other part of this that's infuriating as well is that during this same time that we're interviewing for roles and they're picking the people who are put on the interview slates and blah, 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 there's also a conversation happening around diversity and diversity targets and talking about, we only pick the best talent. And I'm on the inside watching and being like, how is that the best talent? So much so, I wrote a LinkedIn article about it, and you can see this article in the show notes. Like, I put the link in the show notes. You can go read it. It is a case study. I have the receipts. Okay. And yes, that is the Coca-Cola Company I'm talking about. I don't really bring them up. But when you talk about, I'm looking for the best talent, and then you fill the roles with clearly, like on paper, it's already a wash from the jump is not the best talent. They're not even qualified based on the job description. But okay. And there's all this buzz going around about Coca-Cola telling their employees through diversity training to be less white, which was a complete lie. It was a mischaracterization. That is not how that happened. But okay, girl, you gone put them lies on the good Twitter. Hope you got your little shine. And then senior leaders telling us, we have these aspirational diversity targets, but we're going to pick the best talent. And then you pick what you pick. Oh, and by the way, you let me get out the door. And it really is who has the best network, who has the likability, and who has the most sponsors. Basically, those people can't lose because everybody likes the person and that person understands the organizational culture. Coca-Cola's culture specifically, and again, this is my opinion, it's a culture of yes. There are a lot of companies though that are cultures of yes. Leaders just want you to say yes. They ain't really here for your pushback. They ain't really here for your attitude. They want you to be happy, rah, 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 shit, even bring balloons and cheer. Okay? That's what they want. Yay. And so even if your intentions are, hey, we can make this better. Hey, there's another way. I don't want to hear all that. You being negative Nelly. That doesn't feel good. You're criticizing. And y'all know I tell the truth. And I have high expectations and I want things done right. And there was a lot of times I should have seen that. And I'll dig into this a little deeper. We're going to put a pin in that. But because of this yes culture, I was not afforded an opportunity to even interview for a director position. I was given the opportunity to interview for the level I was at. So there's a little bit of recognition that I'm the shit, but okay. Meanwhile, I had already been interviewing, I'd been vetted, and offered a senior director role that I'm quite ready for. It's just not at Coca-Cola. So I say all this to say, the takeaway is, not only did I not get my network up and going and really running, and yes, there was a pandemic and the world flipped upside down and I struggled to build my network, I instead went back to what I knew, right? I focused on delivering. I focused on making sure my business that I was responsible for as a brand manager didn't die. I was trying to mitigate through a pandemic. I stepped up. I helped my director, who was doing 2 or 3 jobs. That's Harriet, y'all. Harriet was working her ass off, okay? I gave it everything I had to give. I left everything on the table. But in the end, I still did not make the right connections that I should have made. And the connection I had was, oh, she's likable. We like her. We love Felicia. She's so authentic. Y'all, if people telling you authentic, that's really a buzzword for she don't make us feel good, even though she be right, but we don't like it. And we not going to tell her to her face. And so this is their cute, palatable way of telling me I don't belong, actually. But it doesn't sound like that and it doesn't feel like that in the moment. And so you over here like, yeah, I'm doing it. It's great. Yeah, this is awesome. Everybody loves me. Oh, they love you. All right. But not enough to keep your ass. Because I was doing things that went against this culture of yes. And so when we get back from the break, I will talk about how I fucked up by not reading the company culture when we get back. The Trill MBA Show is happy to announce a partnership with a fantastic organization named Juno. Juno uses the power of group buying to help people get lower interest rates on new student loans and student loan refinancing. So if you're like me and you got a bunch of student loans and the interest rate is high, Juno can help you get lower interest rates so you can pay off your student loans faster. Listen, I am so excited about this Why? Because Juno is completely free. It is a free resource. You have no obligation to take the offered deals. Juno gives power back to us, the borrowers, and allows us to take ownership of our financial future. I am so excited about this partnership, and the process to becoming a member is simple, and it only takes 2 minutes. So check out the link in the show notes to learn more and get lower interest rates on your student loans, y'all. Let's save this money, okay? Now back to the show. All right, y'all. Y'all know what this segment is. The most important thing. Yes. So you guys, listen, I fucked up on the most important thing. And the most important thing outside of building relationships, these things go side by side. You got to understand the company culture, and you got to adjust, and you got to build relationships. Like, those two things are equal. And I did not adjust to the company culture. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not an indictment on Coke's culture. It's just not. There are a bunch of Fortune 500 companies, and they're all the same. They're machines. Coke is one of them. They are just the example. This is the case study. This is the one I can talk about, right? And so in these machines, our job is surviving, right? We are surviving corporate warriors. And in order to survive, we have to understand our environment. We have to learn how to read the company culture and adapt. So I had read the culture. I don't think I read it all the way right, because I thought, I got confused by the fans, and I thought, oh, this is welcomed. Girl, no, it's not. It's not. And so you have to adapt so that you can get your best possible outcome. And clearly I didn't do that. So when you are in a culture and people are like, we love you. You're so authentic. Oh, I love you're like the best part of my day. We love being in meetings with you. But no one says, oh, we can't let her go. And mind you, that happened. There are a lot of leaders who went to bat for people and were like, we can't let this person go. And they did everything, pulled string out of the string, friends and family. All the kinds of things to do whatever it took to keep this person. All over the world. This happened all over the world because Coca-Cola is a global company. But they didn't do that for me. And so when I first started at Coke, it felt like a Mecca. It looked like, it's Atlanta. I had never really been in Atlanta. I'd visit for a weekend here and there, but I didn't really understand. Atlanta is so black. I've never worked for a company and in a city that was so black. Like, it's so black. When you walk into the building, they're playing like smooth R&B, like 90s R&B. When I tell you I heard Joe, Brandy, and Boyz II Men one day from the parking garage to the elevator, I was so confused. And then like when they present before big presentations, they play music and they play this like jazz trap music. So it's like Cardi B, but by a jazz band. It's so much fun because it's instrumental, but you know the words. But you get to see your coworkers bop along sometimes. And you're like, you don't even know what that is. It's so fun, right? And as a Black person, like, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, you feel like this is my place. This is where I belong. Like, I just knew I was going to be the first Black woman CEO of Coca-Cola. And this was when we were in the office. And I had started building those relationships. And then the pandemic hit. And I didn't know how to adjust to the shift. And I didn't know how to adjust to, trying to navigate a culture remotely. And then George Floyd changed everything. and you thought you could be bold and honest, but I don't know how far that got any of us, really. At least somebody like me. You know, sometimes to build credibility, it takes a while. And at the time George Floyd died, I hadn't even been in Coke a whole year. Ooh, but I was real honest and real vocal. I thought I was being a leader. And there were shifts in leadership and things were changing. But when you work remote, like, you lose some of those cues. You know, you can't see people actually moving around the building to be like, why they meeting? What's going on? You know, you lose some of those cultural cues working from home. And so, to be honest, I say I messed up. I wasn't paying attention and I got comfortable and everybody was saying yes and rah, rah, rah. And so I started to notice this after my first 6 months there that, there's some bullshit. But then people were like, Felicia, we loved you. Authentic and blah, blah, blah. We need that. Listen, people are always going to shoot the messenger. Don't get shot. Okay? And in cultures of yes, you will find that there are these massive pockets of mediocrity. It becomes like this. You've got your worker bees and then people who are workhorses, and they're the 20% of people that do 80% of the work, that kind of thing. And I'm not saying that the company is that extreme, but there's some mediocrity there. And there's a lot of companies, right? I'm not picking on them, but there's a lot of companies where people are coasting. People are just getting by. They're laying on the radar. And the sad thing is, those are a lot of the people that got to stay because they had built relationships, and their relationships actually trump their performance. Why? The pie model. We've talked about this. Performance is only 10%. So me being beastly, that's only 10%. And so when I think about it, between, pandemic, not building relationships, me being a little too free with my words, basically I got shot. So you may be right in your communication, like you may be right in what you're saying, but you got to communicate for impact and not intention. My intention in my heart may have been pure in some situations, but it wasn't going to help me get my promotion. But understand, your girl is going to get her promotion, okay? So listen, I'm not going to hold y'all any longer because I'm going to break all this up over the next episode or two. I'm going to come back with some personal example. I'm really going to dig into, I'm not going to mention names, but I am going to share, for examples, like things that happened to me, especially during the George Floyd incident. Like, I had this crazy microaggression shit that happened. So I'm going to talk about that. And during that time, I was so emotional and so angry about everything. But now, taking a step back, I realized I should have played all this shit differently. Come back next week and we'll dive into it. It's going to be some good lessons. And it's going to be fun because it's going to be like I'm spilling some tea or some shit. But honestly, this shit happens all the time at all kinds of places. I just want you to be cognizant and aware so you can make a decision on what you going to do and that you stay focused on your best possible outcome. I may even have a friend come by and chat with us, but I definitely will have receipts. I stay with receipts. Y'all should know this about me by now. So next week, we're going to have some personal examples, talk about in more depth how I didn't pay attention to the company culture, and I confused having fans with being valued. So if you need some help or advice about a specific situation you're going through, go to trillandba.com/coaching to schedule a 45-minute consultation with me, and we can strategize and walk through your specific work situation. In addition, you can always email us at ask@trillandba.com. I'm happy to either answer your question or connect you to the right person if I don't have the answer. So again, that's trillandba.com/coaching to schedule a 45-minute consultation with me, or ask@trillandba.com to submit your question or concern. So I'm so excited I get to tell you guys these stories because I've been waiting to tell the world about the bullshit that I go through in corporate. And finally I get to do it. So until next time, y'all, keep it trill. The Trill and BA Show is a Fair World Corp LLC production. Executive produced by Felicia and Rose Inuha. Sound design and editing by Chris Mann with Podshaper. Theme music is Kick Push by Ryan Little. Keep it trill every day, y'all.